My wayward children, you are too far from the path to be worthy of the wandering mother's patience or mine. All impurities must be burned away in the flames of divinity. So that was a line from the Vineyard RPG, a queer gothic horror campaign guide and setting book where a fantasy corporation, the Vineyard, serves as a front for the new undead god of secrets. The Vineyard is a crime organization that controls the city with manipulation, secrets, and monetary debt. Hi everyone, my name is Fondue. Usually on my channel I cover Foundry VTT tutorials and TTRPG tips and tricks and daily TTRPG memes as YouTube shorts, so if any of that stuff interests you, hit that subscribe and like button down there. But today, I thought we'd do something a little different, and I'm shining a light on this upcoming RPG book. So as I mentioned, it is a campaign guide and setting book compatible with 5th edition and also Tales of the Valiant, which you might have known as Project Black Flag from Kobold Press. So briefly, Tales of the Valiant, or Project Black Flag, is Kobold Press's take on 5th edition. So when the whole OGL debacle happened, Kobold Press said, right, we're gonna take 5th edition and start building our own game on top of it. Kind of like Paizo when they took 3rd edition and built Pathfinder on it. It's kind of the same thing. So anyway, it's compatible with 5th edition and Tales of the Valiant, which is an upcoming RPG game by Kobold Press. And the Vineyard RPG will be a 220 plus page book, including the following: 9 compelling villains, the Whisperborn lineage, which is a brand new custom lineage, a wasting sickness mechanic, contract boon and bane mechanics, secrets mechanics, a lot of mechanics happening in this book, which is cool, 5 major locations and 20 minor locations, 10 new monsters, and a tier 3, that means levels 11 to 16 adventure. The project is currently live on Kickstarter until May 1st, and you can pledge for as low as $40, which nets you the PDF version of the book. Other pledge levels include the physical version of the book, also bundled together with the digital PDF version, Roll20 and Foundry VTT versions of the book. You get to choose one or the other, and all of the bundle pledges will actually include a free Alchemy RPG module of the book. So if you don't know what Alchemy RPG is, it is a VTT that is very stylish, and I quite like the way it looks. I'm going to cover that in a later video though. And the reason why I'm bringing up the Vineyard RPG, because I really like the vibe of this and I want to see the Kickstarter succeed. And the people behind it are also really cool people, and I want to see them succeed. So I wanted to shine a light on this project, and full disclosure, I have backed the project, so I am biased in wanting to see it happen, but hopefully you can also be convinced with what I'm about to tell you and what I like about this project. So Friday, the co-creator of this project got in touch with me and sent me a preview packet of the book, and I wanted to talk about one of the main features of the book that is featured in this preview packet, which are the villains. As I mentioned before, there are 9 compelling villains in this book, and each villain will have the following that I could see in the preview packet: motives, flaws, and strengths, so you understand the character; a biography explaining their background and history; central tensions within the location that they are based in, so that you understand the character's relationship to the environment in which they live; how to roleplay the villain. I actually really like this because as a game master, I like to do characters. I like to bring characters to life through voice and acting and such. That's just my thing. I really like that. Your mileage may vary on how much you do that, and each GM is different, but that's what I like. So I really like that they tell you, hey, here's this character and here are some guidelines how you can roleplay this character if you would like. Of course, you don't have to do it that way. It's totally up to you. But I like having these guidelines. And also on top of that, there's different dialogue options for the villain and the other NPCs as well on what you can say specifically as this character in very specific moments. So for the villain in the preview, Istillias, you could have dialogue options for when Istillias meets the players or when they're transitioning to a more negative stance towards the players, and then during combat, what they can say, just a few lines to give you an understanding of how they talk and how they would speak under these different circumstances. I feel like, for me at least, that gives a great starting point for how I act and talk as this NPC or villain. Then this book also includes a villain's lair with villain actions for each villain and a stat block for the villain, of course. Now let's talk about Istillias, the villain in the preview packet that I had a look at. She is very interesting. The lines that you heard at the beginning of the video, those were Istillias' lines that I picked from the book and brought to life with some visuals and music, and my voice, of course. And she is the head of all religious affairs in the city where this takes place. She feels that the people of the city have lost their way, and she wants to guide the people to a life of purity, according to the teachings of the Wandering Mother. Now, she's a fanatic who absolutely believes what she does is good for everyone, and she is not afraid to go too far, and actually goes against her own religious order and teams up with the Vineyard, the crime organization, to make sure that she can complete her mission. So it's a very interesting character. It's multifaceted. There's a lot of layers. There's history. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with this character, and I feel very inspired when I was reading through the preview packet, saying like, yes, I can see this villain coming to life. And she had some killer moves also, mechanically speaking. Like when you kill her, she gets revived because of her strong faith into the Wandering Mother and gets like 300 hit points back. So it's just bonkers, and other cool mechanics there, which I'll show on screen right now. You can pause and have a read. All right, but I want to talk about what I like about this project. Aside from the villain that I just mentioned, Istillias being really cool, and the overall vibe of the project, I really like that this is a queer story. As a bi person myself, I love seeing and hearing more queer stories coming to the forefront, and I want to see more of them in media in general. That doesn't mean I don't want to see other types of stories, mind you, but I also want to see some more queer stories because we don't have as much of them as we should. So them openly saying that this is a queer story is really nice to me, and I really like that, and that's one of the reasons why I want to see it succeed. And then, like I mentioned, the villains are absolutely fascinating, multifaceted, and just oozing with personality. Like Istillias sounds very intriguing, and I can already see how I would play her and all the things that I could do as her at the table. And as I mentioned, Istillias has some really cool mechanics, and the other mechanics that were described, like the contract and the wasting sickness stuff, sound really interesting, and I really want to see more of that. Also, I get the feeling that this book is being made with a lot of care and attention towards the players and the group itself, because the beginning of the preview packet, there's a suggestion to have a session 0 to discuss lines, veils, etc., and have those safety tools in place. And on top of that, there are content warnings for the adventure itself, because there are some heavy themes in this adventure, which is not bad, but it's great that they are warning possible players of these possible themes. That is very considerate of players and GMs of all walks of life, and I really like that. And then the dialogue options for the NPCs at very specific moments and giving tools on how to roleplay characters, I really, really enjoy, and for me, that is one of my favorite things to do as a GM, so I really latch on to that stuff when it's there. And lastly, you may be wondering, why does the lowest tier start at already $40? If that's so much? Well, they actually pay their team above industry standard rates, which I think is phenomenal. I don't mind paying a little bit extra so that all of the team members can get paid well. Of course, I understand you might be in a completely different financial situation than myself. I can do this. Of course, take care of your own financials first before joining these types of projects, but I think it's great that they went with making sure that they can pay their people well. I think that's important, and I want to support that. So consider backing this project if you are looking forward to a very cool sounding queer gothic horror adventure and setting, and if all of the stuff that I talked about resonates with you. If you're interested, link to their Kickstarter is in the description below. Go check that out and go read it for yourself. You might want to read a little bit more before you make a decision, and then if you would like to pledge, you can check the different pledge levels there. So there you have it, the Vineyard RPG, a queer gothic horror RPG campaign guide and setting book. I also want to say here at the end that I was not paid to talk about it. This is not a sponsorship. This is not an ad. I just like this project. I backed it myself, and I want to see this succeed because of all the cool stuff that I mentioned before there, with how they're supporting their workers, with interesting villains, with giving great tools for role-playing and bringing characters to life, and some really cool mechanics. I want to see all of that come to life in this book, and that's why I backed it, and I hope you can find it in your heart to be interested in and back this as well. And if you enjoyed this video and if you enjoy my content in general, the like and subscribe buttons are down there, and I would like you to click them for me if you could, because that helps my channel grow, and I'm getting very close to being able to monetize this channel, which is awesome, and I want to see this channel grow even further. On top of that, I also stream on twitch.tv/diceandeasy every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern European time. That is 8 a.m. Pacific time and 11 a.m. Eastern time. And I would love to see you there in Twitch chat if you would like to come over. Link for that also down there in the description below. And on the screen right now, you're going to see another video of mine, which I definitely think you should check out because it's a banger. All right. Thank you very much for watching my video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.